God, check, stars up. His divine grace of easy Bhagavatam. May Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Stuck. Jayam Vishnu Padmahamsa, Parama Jakacharya Saraswati Divine Grace of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna everyone, thank you for coming for Bhagavatam class. Today we are reading from the 5th canto, chapter 26, text 38. I believe that's correct. Okay, up here. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. It's a prose verse, so I'll just read it. Nirvidilaksham marga adha eva vyakyayata evavan evata koshrayash chaturtashadha pura nishu vikalpita uga iyate tato naraya yanashaya sakshan mahapurushasya stavishtam rupam atmayan yaya gunamayam anuparnitam adrita pati pratahati shnoti Shravayati Saupagyam Bhagavata Parmatmano Graham Api Shradha Bhakti Vishuddha Buddhir Veda. Synonyms: Nirvidya Lakshana Marga, the path of symptomized by renunciation, or the path of liberation. Adho, in the beginning, the 2nd and 3rd cantos. Eva, indeed. Vyakyata, described. Evata, eva, etavan, this much. Eva, certainly. Ananda Kosha, the universe which resembles a big egg. Yaha, which. Chaturdasha, in 14 parts. Prapuranishu, the Puranas. Vikalpita, divided. Upagiyate is described. Yat, which. Tat, that. Bhagavata, of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Narayana Shaya, the Lord Narayana. Sakshat, directly. Mahapurushayasya, of the Supreme Person. Stavishtam, the gross form. Atmamaya, of his own energy. Guna, the quality of the qualities. Mayam, consisting. Anuvarnitam, described. Adrita, venerating. Patitati, one reads. Shrunoti, or hears. Shravayati, or explains. Saha, the person. Bhagayam, song. Bhagavataha, of the Supreme Personality Godhead. Paramatmanaha, of the Super Soul. Vagrayam, difficult to understand. Api, although. Shraddha, by faith. Bhakti, and devotion. Vishuddha, purified, Buddhi, whose intelligence Veda understands. So, translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. In the beginning, the second and third cantos of the Srimad Bhagavatam, I have already described how one can progress on the path of liberation. In the Puranas, the vast universal existence, which is like an egg, divided into 14 parts as described. This vast form is considered the external body of the Lord, created by his energy and qualities. It is generally called the Virat Rupa. If one reads the description of this external form of the Lord with great faith, or if one hears about it or explains it to others, to propagate Bhagavat Dharma or Krishna consciousness, his faith and devotion and spiritual consciousness, Krishna consciousness will gradually increase. I'm just going to read that one more time. If one reads the description of this external form of the Lord with great faith, or if one hears about it or explains it to others to propagate Bhagavad Dharma or Krishna consciousness, his faith and devotion and spiritual consciousness, Krishna consciousness, will gradually increase. Although developing this consciousness is very difficult, by this process one can purify himself and gradually come to an awareness of the Supreme Absolute Truth. Purport. The Krishna conscious movement is pushing forward the publication of Srimad Bhagavatam, as explained especially for the understanding of the modern civilized man, to awaken him to his original consciousness. Without this consciousness, one melts into complete darkness. Whether one goes to the upper planetary systems or the hellish planetary systems, he simply wastes his time. Therefore, one should hear of the universal position of the Virat form of the Lord, as described in Srimad Bhagavatam. That will help one save himself from material condition and gradually elevate him to the path of liberation, so that he can go back home, back to Godhead. Om Gana Timarandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshuramnantam Yenan Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. This purport is very nice. The Krishna conscious movement is pushing forward the publication of Srimad Bhagavatam, as explained, especially for the understanding of the modern civilized man, to awaken him to his original consciousness. Without this consciousness, one melts into complete darkness. Whether one goes to the upper planetary systems or the hellish planetary systems, he simply wastes his time. Therefore, one should hear of the position of the universal Virat of the Lord, as described in Srimad Bhagavatam. That will help one save himself from material conditioned life and gradually elevate him to the path of liberation, so he can go back to Godhead. This is reminding me of when I first moved into the ashram. It was very new. My mentor at the time, a very amazing devotee actually, she told me very bravely, because I was quite tamasic, coming from that classic Kali Yuga refugee lifestyle. She said, I think I had been in the ashram for maybe like a year, maybe 6 months or 7 months. And she said to me, you're so in the mode of ignorance, it'll take you at least 3 years before you even realize how in the mode of ignorance you are. And then she said, and if you don't do something about it quickly, you'll drown. So just we're thinking of that now. Srila Prabhupada is saying here, without this consciousness, one melts into complete darkness. I remember thinking at the time, 3 years, I'm not going to be here for 3 years. I'm going to get this mode of goodness thing down in like maybe 6 months. of course, that didn't happen. Um, so yeah, this is very amazing, actually, that Srila Prabhupada and Shukadeva Goswami are saying here how important it is that we have Krishna consciousness, and we take a hold and take advantage of this consciousness. And I guess today I wanted to speak a little bit about what I thought really was being spoken here in this purport. Um, yeah, is just to talk about, also for my own benefit, because I definitely need to improve this, um, the importance of reading Srila Prabhupada's books. Uh, we had a very nice Goshti yesterday at operations meeting, and Leela Madura Devi was getting us to reflect on this point about why we read Srila Prabhupada's books, why it's important to us, and why it's important to us and why it's important in general to read it. And I thought it was a really nice exercise. And then, yeah, preparing for class today. Yesterday, I was also thinking, wow, this point is actually so important for myself to refresh on because it often can get missed. As we hear, it's held in the service. But often for myself, I put service first and then forget about the other two. So yeah, I just thought today to speak a little bit about the importance of reading Srila Prabhupada books. And I was thinking it's interesting actually how even the beginning of um, Srimad Bhagavatam is based on like the story of Maharaj Parikshit, how he even have the whole Srimad Bhagavatam and all of this knowledge. Like Maharaj Parikshit, as we know, he's the son of Uttara and Abhimanyu. Abhimanyu is the son of Arjuna and Subhadra. Subhadra is Krishna's sister. So a very empowered personalities. Arjuna is non-different from Narayan Rishi. So and Uttara was like personally trained by Arjuna when he was in the disguise of a eunuch. So yeah, Maharaj Parikshit, besides his very qualified parents, he is very potent. He has a lot of potency in his blood, and he is also very important and empowered personality. So as we hear in the first canto, in chapter 18, Srimad Bhagavatam, he was cursed by Shringi, a little Brahmin boy, when he was pushed by Providence in thirst and anger, and he garlanded Shringi's father with a snake out of anger for his not being received properly. And it's even described in the purport in one of these in this pastime how when he was leaving after he had been um, after he had left the house, he was feeling in his heart like, oh, that was weird. I shouldn't have done that. Why did I do? I should go apologize. That wasn't proper. Um, Not exactly in those words, of course, but that is what Prabhupada says in there, that he was feeling this wasn't right to do. And Prabhupada describes how sometimes that when we're overpowered with anger, we do something really dumb. And later we might think, oh, that wasn't quite right. I didn't do that. We can see it, so we were blinded by this mode. So anyways, pushed by Providence, he did this. And Shringi, yeah, it was described improperly cursed the king to die in 7 days' time by the bite of a snake bird named Takshaka. So anyways, this Maharaj finds out about this curse. He could, he has the power to not take it on, but being a great personality, he takes it on and then sets the example for everyone about how they should leave their body. And yeah, if they have a week left to live. And I was thinking about this recently because one of my uh, friends of the family, I guess is a way of saying it, recently left her body just a couple of days ago. Um, she, yeah, I saw her 6 months ago. She was totally healthy and fine. And then just within 2 weeks, she went to the doctor and got diagnosed with brain cancer. It was terminal. And they said they didn't know how long she was going to live. And then within 2 weeks, she left her body. And I was thinking, wow, this is so amazing. Imagine you go to the doctor and you find out you have terminal brain cancer. What do you do? As a devotee, obviously, we're like, yeah, open up Chaitanya Charitamrita and take shelter of Srila Prabhupada's books. But as a karmi, as someone who's absorbed in material life, what is the shelter that you go to? So we find ourselves here on the bank of the Ganges, Maharaj Pariksha has gone to fast until the end of his life, and he's inquiring from great sages about the questions of the world. So here, this gathering of all the sages on the bank, and they're all wondering who's going to answer all of their questions. And there's a very famous verse in the first canto, second chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, text number 5. Actually, all of Bhagavatam, these verses are just like filled with little diamonds and jewels. Describe that this chapter has everything in it that compensates Srimad Bhagavatam. So 1, 2, 5. Munina sadhu prashtoham bhavad vir lokamangalam yatkrita krishna sampashno yena masu prasidati. O sages, I've been justly questioned by you. Your questions are worthy because they relate to topics of Lord Krishna and are thus of relevance for the entire world's welfare. Only questions of this sort are completely capable of satisfying the self. So this is the beginning of many nectar verses to come that talk about the importance of hearing and how actually in this purport, to this text 125, Srila Prabhupada's mentioning how every living entity is actually asking questions. Like in the morning here at Nagari, probably where you are as well, in your different abodes, we can hear the birds chirping. This is, Srila Prabhupada says, this is them asking questions to each other. What about this? What about this? What about this? What about this? They're actually talking, they're asking questions. The beasts are asking questions when they're growling at each other. This is all questions and answers that are taking place. And then Srila Prabhupada says, but actually, only questions that are in relationship to Krishna are the ones that are going to be able to satisfy. Yeah. All things but Krishna give temporary satisfaction only. So if we are to have complete satisfaction, we must take questions and answers about Krishna, which is so true. If you're asking questions about anything, it only leads to speculation in the mind. Like all of these social media pages, all of these Instagram scrollings, and these things that so many people are so fascinated and addicted to. They're providing questions in the mind that spark questions, or pictures that inquire questions. But the questions and the answers to those questions, where are they leading us to? What are we actually getting from them? So if we turn to Krishna and questions and answers about Krishna, then that's where we actually get the most satisfaction. It also says, Srila Prabhupada says in Bhagavad Gita 15:15, it says that in all the Vedas, there's nothing but the urge for searching after him, Krishna. So 15:15 we know is Sarvasya Janam Medusana Vishta Tasmiti Jnanam Apohanam Cha Vedanta Sarvam Hameva Vedyanam Vedanta Kridveda Videva Chaham. Krishna provides the intelligence, knowledge, and forgetfulness for him. And in all the Vedas, like imagine this, in all the Vedas, there's nothing but the urge for searching after him, Krishna. When people in life, they're actually searching for some sort of satisfaction, some sort of happiness, some sort of like shelter. Like everyone's searching for some sort of shelter. But what do you take shelter of in material life? Relationships, temporary relationships. Intoxication, work, these sorts of things are what we turn to for shelter. And for someone who doesn't know any better, you can't even blame them, saying, oh, you're taking shelter of a lesser thing. Because they don't know anything higher, so this is just all they go. So there's these other two verses I wanted to share from this chapter that I thought were, very relevant. Increasing instead of hearing and chanting. So this is 1 to 12. Tachtriddhana munayo jnana vairagyam yuktaya pashyantya atmachatmanam bhaktish. The seriously inquisitive student or sage, well equipped with knowledge and detachment, realizes the absolute truth by rendering devotional service in terms of what he has heard from the Vedanta Shruti. So when we're well equipped with knowledge and detachment, we can realize the absolute truth by rendering devotional service. We can only do this if we've actually heard whatever we have learned from the Vedanta Shruti, so from the Vedas. Tasmad ekam manasa bhagavan satvampatihi shruttabhya kirtayat kirtiyascha yeham punyascha nityam. Therefore, with one pointed attention, one should constantly hear about and glorify and remember and worship the personality of Godhead, who is the protector of the devotees. I remember someone describing this verse to me once as though it's like a horse who's wearing blinds. And it's like one pointed attention. You're just so fixed. You've got your service, you've got the devotees, and you've got the Bhagavatam. And it's just, that's all you can see. That's quite a nice way of living, I imagine. And then this is one of my favorite verses in all of Bhagavatam. Nashavaisha Bhadresha Nitim Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavata Vidamashloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki. By regularly attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering service unto the pure devotees, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. So yeah, all of them combined together that we're doing. We're attending Bhagavatam class, coming to the morning program as much as possible, we're rendering service to the pure devotee, then we're able to almost completely destroy all of that ignorance in the heart. And loving service into the personality of Godhead is established as an irrevocable fact. So yeah, this was very nice to hear about and just to meditate upon how the process what's actually happening in the heart. So I was listening to this lecture on this topic, and this devotee was describing this nice analogy for understanding the nectar of Bhagavatam. And I'm all about analogies, so I thought I'd share it with you guys. It's describing how the Vedas, Puranas, and the different sections of the Vedic literature, they can be compared to like different relationships we have. Like the Vedas, the mother is very caring. She will do whatever she needs to do to give the child some instruction in order to please them. So just like the Vedas, they will go through any extent to please the child. Or sometimes when the child is behaving, at least in some cultures, they like hit the child a little bit, some sharp lesson so the child understands. So sometimes when you're reading, it can be like this, caring and nurturing, and then sometimes she'll drop. It's like boom, lightning right to the heart. And then it's also like a master. It's instructing us, giving us direct instructions, like nothing you can question, just straight. And then it's describing how the Puranas, they're like a friend. They're very encouraging. They don't give direct instructions to act in certain ways. And then it inspires that way without having to give us a direct instruction. He's describing that the Kalyas are like, it's like someone's talking in like a loving relationship. There's a lot of emotion, a lot of, yeah, like loving language, things like this, but it can be a little hard to find the actual meaning of what they're saying. Now, Srimad Bhagavatam is actually all of these relationships. It's like the mother, the master, the friend, and the lover all in one. How, yeah, as we can see in Bhagavatam, it's filled with like stories that are filled with analogies to help us understand how we're actually suffering. Like the pastime of King Purunchana. It's like super expansive, but actually it's just there so that we can understand how we're not in the body. Now the body actually brings so much suffering. So it's just an analogy. It's like a story in a story. Then there's the story of the she goat and the he goat, many more. It's like a master. It's very instructive. Like we're hearing about in the fifth canto. This is what will happen to you if you perform this sinful activity. This is where you go. This And it's also like a mother, very, very soothing for the heart. Like if you've just been beaten by the broomstick of Maya and you're feeling wounded all over, or you've had an interaction with a devotee, or you've done something that maybe you didn't do to the best of your ability, and you just open up the pages of Bhagavad Gita and you turn to Srimad Bhagavatam. And sometimes Krishna, Srila Prabhupada's transcendental literature, and Krishna, they're just there in the pages and they just soothe the heart. And it's actually the only roof for the body. I have personal experience of this, of having, rest days, and you take a rest week or a rest day, and in my, at least my mentality, I'm like, oh, resting means I'll just space out, or resting means I'll, what did I do before? Resting means you watch movies, you watch TV shows like this. So yeah, if you do this, it's actually so draining because you're not getting anything, you're just giving away your energies. But then as soon as you read, any, Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, it's instantly just so refreshing, like very calming for the heart, very soothing, allows the mind to actually rest in the pages of this literature. So yeah, actually I wanted to read, there's this really nectar prayers by Shuddha Goswami, called the Bhagavatam Mahima Shrutram by Srila Sanatana Goswami. But let me just read it now. Sarva Shastra Piyusha Sarva Veda Katsatpala Sarva Siddhantaratnatya Sarva Loka Drikprada. O nectar from scriptures, singular fruit of all the Vedas, rich mind and precious gems of all conclusive truths. You are the only giver of sight to all the worlds. Sarva Bhagavatam Pranam Srimad Bhagavatam Prabhu Kali Dhavantya Shri Krishna Parivartita. O life of all the Supreme Lord's devotees, O Master Srimad Bhagavatam, you are the sun risen in the darkness of Kali. You are the exact image of Shri Krishna. Paramananda Partaya Vrema Vakshaksharayate Shradaya Sarvada Shravasevaya Shri Krishnaya. I bow down to you, heart supremely blissful to read. Your every syllable pours down a flood of prema. You can always be served by everyone. You are Shri Krishna himself. Mad Ida Mad Satkin Man Guru Mad Mahatana Mam Naishka Bhava Mad Bhagya Mad Ananda Namostute. My only friend, my constant companion, my spiritual master, my great wealth, my savior, my good fortune, my source of ecstasy, I bow down to you. Asadu Satuta Dani Adino Jittato Kara Hanamuja Kada Chinmam Prema Hritkardayatspura. O bestower of saintliness to the unsaintly, O exalter of the most woman, please never leave me, always appear in my heart and my voice with pure love. This is such a nectar prayer. I remember when I was living in the ashram, I used to recite this every day. So yeah, this is by Srila Goswami, who's like a direct associate of Lord Chaitanya. So we can understand that this knowledge, this Bhagavatam, is most special, and that reading it will actually be able to regain our natural condition, our Krishna consciousness. And as Srila Prabhupada is saying in this purport, will actually, just by doing this, then we won't put ourselves in this condition that we melted into darkness. We'll actually be able to regain our eternal positions in the spiritual world. And this Bhagavatam Mahima Shutram, it's quite, just by reading it is quite nectar, but it can seem like, is this actually real? Like, really? Like, just by reading these books, I'll like actually be able to understand Krishna? I don't know. So it requires a little bit of faith. And how do we get faith? I mean, this is a whole Bhagavatam class in itself, but we read about Krishna, or like, you can take it from a material point of view to make it a little easier to understand. Like in school, we read about this war that happened, and then we do some research on it, and then we start to, I can explain. We talk to someone who's been in the war. Okay, you were in it. that sounds really hard. We get some taste, we get some experience, watch some videos. Oh yeah, okay, like this happened. Oh my gosh. And then you have faith, and then you start to develop some more interest. You want to read more. So it's like this cycle. We read, we get some taste, we get some experience, then we have a little bit of faith at it, and then we do it again. Like with anything, this wood floor, I worked how it was constructed by the oxen back in the day. I have been hearing from devotees that this floor is not going to fall apart. I've been walking on this floor. I'm experiencing, yes, this is very sturdy. So then I have faith. This floor is not going to fall apart. So like this, it works with anything material. So we should also apply this to Krishna consciousness. We read Srila Prabhupada's books. He is a great authority on this knowledge. Just like if we hear about this in Sri Upanishad, if we want to figure out who our father is, we go to the mother, and the mother will tell us this is who your father is. So in the same way, we want to know who Krishna is, we go to Srila Prabhupada and we think, who is Krishna? And Krishna, he will show us in his pages of Srimad Bhagavatam. Of course, through the mercy of the spiritual master, everything was possible. So we read, and then we get the taste. Oh wow, this is really nice. I like hearing about Krishna's times. And then we get some experience. Krishna gives us some flavor, some soothing effect, whatever it might be. And then we get some faith. And of course, I've also experienced how you can lose your taste. It happens when we're not strong in our sadhana, when our chanting and our hearing aren't steady and regulated. Then we lose this taste. We can just look at our phones, read, read, read. Nothing goes into the mind. Chanting Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna. God, what's tomorrow? What's today? What am I doing? I've experienced this many times, and it's very unfortunate, and I wouldn't wish it upon anybody. But you can make a full comeback by, if possible, attending a full morning program, chanting all your rounds in the morning. One devotee told me recently, waking up at 4 in the morning, chanting all of your rounds in one go, engaging in at least 6 to 7 hours of full devotional service, and reading 2 hours a day of Srila Prabhupada's books. This was our program in New Zealand, but of course, everything changes as our life changes. So finding that program that fits so we can develop that circle, that reading, tasting experience, faith. And then it just increases more and more, as I've heard, as we progress in Krishna consciousness. Then, yeah, we get to the stages, the different stages of our spiritual life. So yeah, I speak today a little bit of just read Srila Prabhupada's books, the next year reading them, going through the pastimes of Maharaj Parikshit, the verses in the first canto, second chapter, Srimad Bhagavatam, these little gem-like verses. Actually, this entire chapter is very inspiring to read if you're finding a bit of stagnancy in your sadhana. Studying these verses is very nice. Yeah, and then talking a little bit about faith, how it's important in devotional service, how it's important in our life. And yeah, how reading it's like flicking on a light switch in the mind. It enables us to actually see the difference between what's for Krishna's pleasure and what's for my pleasure. I've also heard that by reading, it's quite a glare, actually. By reading Srila Prabhupada books, it's like, yeah, if we don't read, then we can't emanate properly what's for Krishna's pleasure. And someone described it to me as in another analogy, which I also find really, really helpful and very visual for myself. It's like you're walking in a dark room and you're looking for the light switch, but you can't see it, and you just keep tripping over things, and you think this might be it, but it's not. And then finally, you find the light switch and you flick it on, and it's like, wow, I can actually see things clearly. And wow, I've been seeing things totally wrong. So yeah, this is what we can get from Srila Prabhupada's books, is this vision to clearly see things properly. And also, just on a small note, like I can say, at least for myself, before I met the devotees, I had like just come out of being a teenager. I was, 19. Uh, I was hanging out with like rat pack sort of people and just like not doing very good in my social educational lifestyle. Yeah, this is the way I spoke was like just all sorts of weird slang words and not very educated. Just couldn't do much. It was, yeah, not going anywhere quick. And yeah, just from reading Srila Prabhupada's books, it just changes the way you speak. you actually start to speak properly. Like you learn to speak like an actual devotee and someone who has a like high class. Because the literature that Srila Prabhupada's using, it's like, yeah, it's just textbook and you're in school and associating with. So we associate with Srila Prabhupada's book, and it actually can change everything about us. The way we speak, the way we act, can teach us things that, yeah, we had no idea we even needed to learn before diving into the nectar of Prabhupada's Gita. So let's see, it's nearly, we've got about 12 minutes left. Does anybody have any questions or comments or corrections that they'd like to share? Hare Krishna. One comment. Today is also the disappearance day of Jayananda Prabhu. That's. Mhm. Do you have a question? Yes, Prema Prabhu is asking if I can describe the difference between how I feel when I do read and when I don't read. Yeah, okay. Personally, when I do read, I feel like, um, yeah, like I can see things properly and like I'm actually a devotee to some extent, or trying to be a devotee. Um, yeah, I feel like clear in the mind and peaceful. And when I don't read, I feel kind of like how I felt like before I met the devotees, depending on how many days I go without reading. I found for myself, I can usually go about 4 days without reading Srila Prabhupada's books before I start to feel like I'm going crazy. Um, and yeah, it's just not very pleasant. Feel very like in the mode of ignorance, can't really distinguish things properly, sort of lose the motivation for, um, yeah, wanting to make progress in devotional service. So yeah, I definitely feel for myself that reading is a necessity. It's like part of my life, like something I have to do if I want to maintain my devotional service. Yep. Any other comments? I can speak a little bit about Jayananda Prabhu, although Dharka Prabhu sent some very nice messages, I think, maybe in the community group. I haven't read too much about him. I remember before I came here, I was reading a little bit from Radha Damodar Vilas, and he was described a bit in there. But yeah, I mean, what he posted in the group, I'm sure we can all read today and relish the glories of Jayananda Prabhu's amazing devotional service, determination. I do remember one in this book that one devotee was saying how anyone who met Jayananda Prabhu would always leave feeling like they were given full attention. He would somehow manage to take care of everybody. And he just had this like non-stop, he would take care of everyone in the temple. He was like the temple president, took a full-time job, and he was also the oldest one there. But somehow he just had so much like fixed determination on serving Srila Prabhupada. He's very amazing to the extent that Srila Prabhupada has, I think, as they were saying yesterday at the class, every Rath Yatra festival, they have to have a picture of Jayananda Prabhu on the cover, on the card. Um, so yeah, he's a very amazing devotee, and we should take the opportunity to appreciate him by hearing about his glories, but also taking the opportunity to do what he would do and read about Srila Prabhupada's books. He's a very amazing devotee. This is what all amazing devotees like to do. Taraka Prabhu, would you like to add anything? Let's see, we still have 5 minutes left. 10 minutes left. Let me go one thing. Let's quickly share a quick story since we only have a couple minutes left. So this is one really nice. This is one nice pastime, one of my favorite pastimes from Krishna book. That's nice in the way because these, uh, these devotees, they're so absorbed in everything that has to do with Krishna that when uh, Krishna's pastimes are taking place, they just stop and watch. Let me see if I can think of it. So there's this when Krishna plays his flute in Vrindavan. This is the songs of the gopis. It's just this one little bit from it that's quite nice to think about when in relationship to perfection of being able to hear Krishna's pastimes. Is when he plays his flute in Vrindavan, all of the animals, all of the personalities in Vrindavan, the cows, the birds, the water of the Yamuna River, they actually all stop just to hear the nectar of Krishna's flute. And I said that one time that actually of the nectar of life is being able to cry when hearing the sound of Krishna's flute. This is like the perfection of our life, is that tears flow from the eyes when you hear the sound of Krishna's flute. And I mean, I have personal realization of this, but when I think of this nectar pastime, this one, Sankirtan story, one very nice devotee in New Zealand was sharing that he was on the street and he was doing book distribution. And, he met this man and he kind of looked a bit ruggedy, like he was a traveler. And he, gave him a book, and the man took the Bhagavad Gita and said, "Yes, I'd like to take this book." And he's like, "But I don't have any money." And this happens all the time to Sankirtan devotees, right? Like, "I don't have any money to pay you, but I can trade you something." So the devotee's like, "Okay, yeah, like, what are you gonna trade me?" So this man pulls out this flute and he starts playing it. And this devotee, he's like a very, staunch brahmachari and very nice book distributor. And he was saying like this song of this entered right into his heart, and just like kind of the whole environment became very still. And he was just like, he said it was just very emotional for him. He took it as a donation. It was like, yes, thank you very much. That was like very heart touching. Never saw the man again. And I was thinking this is interesting because sometimes Krishna can act through pages of his books, or sometimes through other devotees, or sometimes through complete strangers we never met before in our life. Give that taste in different ways. So this pastime from Krishna book is very nice. I love to read it when I read these books, because it just emphasizes like how this is actually the nectar of life, to hear the sounds of Krishna's flute. And you might not be able to hear Krishna on that stage, but we can hear the nectar of like Srila Prabhupada's teachings, which can be like compared to the flute because it's so sweet. And it's not everybody has this opportunity to hear this sort of knowledge. Not everybody has the opportunity to meet devotees, to take prasad. It's actually very rare, very few people. So the fact that we have a chance is like really nice. It almost myself, it's like you have to take advantage of it. You only have this chance. So people are suffering. Like this friend of mine, she left her. I mean, I can't really say friend. She was quite older than me, but she's left her body um, without being able to relish the nectar of Prabhupada's books. How unfortunate. The woman, the daughter is probably, she's old enough to be my mom. She's lost, this is her mom, and then earlier this year she lost her son, who was a couple years older than me. or a couple of years younger than me. Um, so much grief. What is she going to take shelter of? Probably not Prabhupada's books. Maybe she'll be fortunate. So we'll end there. Thank you all for your patient attendance and tolerance. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.